This is Kat Hall reading an extract from David Schalko's Regina Spa. Othmar stared at the black display, which reflected his bloated face back at him. The thing had simply given up the ghost, without any warning, while he'd been texting Selma. "I'm sitting on the balcony watching you. I've got my dick in my..." He hadn't got any further. Instead of his dick, he held a dead object in his hand. He felt like he was exclusively surrounded by dead things. The fridge, the TV, the dishwasher, the coffee maker, the washing machine, the microwave, the kettle. The list went on and on. When had he stopped buying things? It must have been just before the millennium. That was when the fridge had packed up. After that, there was cold beer only in winter. He didn't even know if anyone in Regina Spa could still fix things, given that there were only 46 inhabitants left, a figure that could barely be termed a demographic. If something was broken, then it was broken. You learned to live with it. In the meantime, most of the abandoned houses had been colonized by nature too. If the waterfall hadn't been so loud, you would literally have heard the untamed growth running riot. Othmar had often wondered how long a house was still a house, and at what point one should start calling it nature again. Were the old Hellenian baths still swimming baths? Othmar had never wanted to swim there. Too much marble, too much spa. Only after they had locked the place up did he have a craving to go. The same was true of the Grand Hotel, the casino, the Kleberg Sanatorium, the radon baths, and the power station. Even the brutalist convention centre they had built in the middle of town during the 70s was only something Othmar properly registered when it was left to fall apart, as if only a crashed plane was a plane, or a picked flower a flower. Othmar sat on the freezing cold balcony and put the broken phone in his pocket. Despite a few twinges of gout, he opened himself a fifth beer. His pot-belly protruded from his leather jacket as though it were on lookout duty. Orange light from Selma's house. She'd definitely be wondering why he hadn't texted back. Maybe he should go down, even if it broke their agreement. After all, there had to be exceptions. Thank goodness the record player was still working. Joy Division droned from the room. He should really check on Alpha. He'd seemed especially gloomy today. Alpha was sitting by the rotating turntable as he did every evening, staring vacantly into space, despite receiving a full dose of Manchester. Othmar was convinced that the sounds of Alpha's hometown reached him somewhere inside. Some kind of stray echo surely got through, even if there was no movement. His gaze like an unspooled cassette tape, only the peroxide blonde hair jiggling over the black skin of his forehead. The icy wind penetrating from outside. The still darkness waiting to enter. The unoccupied windows like the eyes of the blind. Today everything was quiet. If someone dropped a bomb on Regina Spa, it wouldn't make the slightest difference. What on earth had happened? Had their arrogance led to their downfall, the hubris so clearly displayed by their houses? There they were, stuck like knives into the steep mountain walls, the more impossible and mocking the better. Whose idea had it been to build a town in such adverse conditions? The valley like a deep cut, the rushing waterfall like a bloodletting which drained away the last vestiges of life. And all of them stood by passively, watching themselves disappear. There was a curse on Regina Spa, a curse called Chen. None of those who remained knew him. No one could say what he had planned, but everyone accepted his offer. At some point, he would knock at each of their doors. Othmar had prepared for that moment. Every day he readied a new sentence to refuse to sell his apartment. But Chen didn't come.